Hello, how you doing today? Welcome to another episode of Ubuntu and Open Source. Today I have my desktop set up a little bit different. And that's because I want to talk about virtual desktops. Let me start by saying I think talking about this topic is important to open source technologies and toward the new idea of open hardware. This video is intended to educate and not to offend any personal computer users, whether it be Linux, Windows, Macs, or any platform. So with that being said, let's get into it. What is a virtual desktop? Virtual desktop is a term used for the window management, icon, and menu and program paradigm. And it's helped to expand the desktop beyond the physical limits of the screen display area. As you can see in this picture, it shows 4 desktops, 1, 2, 3 behind here and 4 behind here. And you can see through the top here, it's hard to see, but there are some icons showing through. So, what is a virtual desktop? Who was the first to have virtual desktops? As brought out here in the article, talking about virtual desktops and switching them. First came out in the idea into the mid-late 80s. Talking about the Xerox part system here. As far as implementation goes, the article brings out with the Amiga 1000, released in 85, had a graphics coprocessor called the Copper. And it could, in memory, store the different desktops. I tried to look into this further about the Amiga. I couldn't find anything really. Not in Google searching or I mainly looked for images so I could show you. The X Windows system here, which X11 uses, as well as a Unix-like system uses X Windows system. It brings out here that the popular ones are GNOME and KDE. Nowadays, it's just about every Linux type operating system that uses the X Windows environment. But as the article brings out about KDE, I came up across this here article in Google Groups, dated back October 13th, 1996 at 11 p.m. Talking about programmers wanted for the new project Cool Desktop Environment, aka KDE. And we know later on in the years, the cool part was dropped off and it's just KDE now. But if we go back to here, as far as the panel on system goes, a way graphically press some buttons and you'll change to the different virtual desktops that exist. And this is what this article is talking about. This is where this person cited in their article in 2017, talking about who was the first to introduce multiple desktops in Linux or Mac OS. Now, the article brings out Spaces in the Mac OS X Leopard in 2007. They also cite this article, as well as, for the ZRX parts in 1986. And here we have a graphical picture of KDE 1. As you can see, the top right here, where I have my arrow going in a circle, is the 4 virtual desktops. And here, where it's labeled 1, 2, 3, and 4, are the 4 different desktops running in KDE 1. The article goes on to talk about Microsoft in 2015 with Windows 10 official support for virtual desktops. That's when it finally came out. That there's always been, as the article brings out, unofficial third-party programs that would do different things to have virtual desktops. I remember using one with Windows XP. I forget its name. So, and the reason I believe it's important as far as open source technologies and whether software or hardware, how far cutting edge with this collaboration can go and bring to the end user. So let me show you my implementation on my Q4OS desktop of virtual desktops. Now, to first start and get multiple desktops, I click here on my desktop and configure desktops. Now, there's the background, there's the behavior, and there's multiple desktops. And I just click the arrow up to get more, or click on the arrow to go down and have less. As you can see here in Q4OS, you have a possibility of 20 virtual desktops. Why you would need 20, I don't know. But that's okay, that's for you. So how do you switch once you have them applied? How do you switch between them? Down here, there's a checkbox. Mouse wheel over desktop background switches desktop. You hit apply. And as you can see, just by hitting the desktop, turning your mouse wheel, it can switch. Now here I am in an application, so I don't have a desktop to switch my virtual desktop anymore. So there's a couple of ways to overcome that. As you can see in here, to the bottom left, there's 4 default, Office number 2, Graphics number 3, and www number 4. As you can see in the configuration over here. So I can just click on them, and now I'm switching desktops. So that's one way. Well, that's the second way. The third way, in behavior here, desktop menu bar. Okay, you can click none and apply, and there's no desktop menu bar. Now, if you put a desktop menu bar up here, you click on Windows, it shows the different virtual desktops that are available. And this would be another way to get around your virtual desktops. You can use this one. I don't always find it. Current application menu bar, Mac OS style. Find it advantageous. You click on the desktop. You got to first have an empty desktop space, so the window menu will come into the bar, and then you could switch that way. So if I switch on here on my Google Chrome, because it's application oriented, I have no menu system up here. But if I unmaximize my window, now I have a desktop, and then I have now my desktop menu bar to show. And I can get around. So if you're going to choose this route, the easiest one would be desktop menu bar. So that's 1, mouse wheel, 2, desktop menu bar, 3, here in the bottom left. But there's a fourth way. Now I've activated Windows list menu. So when I right click, there we go. Of course you have to have an empty desktop, a desktop area to right click on. As shown up here, if I try to right click, I can't do that. I'd have to use another means up here with the desktop menu bar, or down here with this here. So there's 4 options of switching your virtual desktop. I'm going to put my desktop back to normal now. Apply. I usually keep this one here all the time. Okay. So the only one I really like to have active and using in my system is this here down here. I find it easy and convenient. Thank you. Have a nice day.